Visiting Peru was an experience like no other. And whilst we did encounter a few challenges, the truth remains that this was the best vacation I've ever taken. Here, I'll share with you a few tips and tidbits from my recent trip to the land of the Incas. Due to airport delays, we didn't arrive to Lima until after midnight, leaving just enough time to take a nap and shower before we had to head back to the airport to catch our first flight out to Cusco. Tip number 1. Do your research on the coca leaf. Yes, this is a leaf that produces cocaine, and no, I do not endorse consuming cocaine whatsoever. However, chewing the coca leaf or drinking the coca tea is a tradition that dates back centuries for the people of Peru to help combat the effects of high altitude. And believe me, altitude sickness in the Cusco region is very real. I drank the coca tea every morning while I was in Peru and thankfully had little to no issues with altitude sickness during my stay. The minute we got into Cusco, we got out of Cusco, and this is again because of the altitude issues. It's best to give your body time to acclimate, and Aguascalientes is a few thousand feet lower than Cusco, so we gave ourselves time to better adjust to the altitude by starting with Aguascalientes and staying in Urubamba and then leaving Cusco for last. Tip number 2. Visit the ruins in Ollantaytambo and the rest of Sacred Valley first prior to visiting Machu Picchu. Once you've seen Machu Picchu, everything else will pale in comparison.
Wow, that's so high up.
We made a pit stop at this lookout point, and let me tell you, the views were nothing short of spectacular. Next day, we started out early in the morning and made our way up to Machu Picchu. Tip number 3. Get a tour guide while you're at Machu Picchu. Having your own historian there to explain to you what you're looking at and why it's so important just takes the whole Machu Picchu experience up to another level. What can be said about Machu Picchu other than you have to go there for yourself to revel in this masterpiece that is a wonder of this world? I really enjoyed the train ride heading back to Ollantaytambo, and this leads me to my 4th tip. Make sure one of the rides, either going or coming, is during the day so that you're able to see the beautiful scenery that you'll be passing by. We were even entertained with a fashion show by some of the train employees in an effort to promote alpacan clothing. Unfortunately for us, while we were in Peru, the people of the Urubamba region were holding a strike against a private company, so we were unable to enter Urubamba at that time. We ended up having to stay in Ollantaytambo for extra days than we had anticipated. Nonetheless, we made the best of the situation.
Are you subscribed to Livin La Vida Lidka, where we focus on food, fashion, fitness, and fun? I need to get into shape.
And tip number 5, when visiting the Choco Museum in Ollantaytambo, don't leave before buying a suitcase full of all of their items. My only regret is that the 7 chocolate bars I bought just wasn't enough.
Excited. Open your eyes.
Plaza de San Martin. San Martin.
General Argentino.
Alright, get in the shot again. Alright, there you are. This is, alright, hold on.
I really enjoyed touring the city of Lima. The architecture and the churches were filled with culture and history. To be honest, Lima was second in my book to Machu Picchu. Tip number 6, get a tour guide when you go to Cathedral de Lima. And may you be lucky enough to have the wonderful one that we had. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. Sorry.
Esther, the facade that is made of stone and belongs to 1625. Remember, please, this was the common tradition before. The people we were buried under the churches, one step to the heaven. Nobody wanted to be buried outside. That was the hell. Were these crypts in all the chapels, in all the churches all around the world. But in 18th century, you remember, appeared the bubonic plague. The bubonic pest disappeared 60%. 4 years to conclude, 3.5 centuries ago. Material, black cedar from Nicaragua. Dynasty. At the top in both corners, Manco Cápac and his wife, Mama Ocllo. They found the Incas Empire and his 14th kings or Incas. The best one, the ninth one, Pachacutec, who ordered to build Machu Picchu. There's a crucial bishop, yes, with precious stones. Yes.
And that's his
You need to
crown.
get the pieces. There's a mitre, there's a pectoral, cross, the rings, and everything that describes the life of Holy Mary. Look the center carving above Holy Mary. It's the oldest one in America. 1551, 465 years old, and it's okay right now.
Oh my
The
gosh.
gift of Charles V, the Emperor of all the world, for this cathedral. Wow, for that jump.
We made an error in judgment and decided to take a double-decker bus to tour the rest of Lima City and also go up a mountain to see this cross that sits on top of the city. That was a scary and painful experience and definitely not for the faint of heart.
Y ahora nos encontramos aproximadamente a la mitad del recorrido, a la mitad del camino hacia el Cerro San Cristóbal. Y dejamos atrás el distrito de Lima para pasar ahora al distrito de San Juan de Lurigancho, que lo tenemos al lado izquierdo. También en la parte baja la salida de los túneles Santa Rosa y San Martín. Y más allá tenemos de altura.
Chickens.
Y también es costumbre de
There is definitely no shortage of options when it comes to nightlife in Lima, but hands down, my favorite thing was the water show. Tip number 7, don't miss the water show.
All right, go, 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 go. It's recording.
Our final day in Peru, and we decided to take a day trip to Paracas and then to Huacachina. It was a 3-hour bus ride from Lima to Paracas, and then about a half hour in a boat to get to Islas Ballestas. And then after that, it was another few hours in a bus to get to Huacachina. All worth it.
Happy feet.
Make money out of it.
My final tip, don't miss out on the dune boogie and sandboarding in Huacachina. That was loads of fun. Peru, you are beautiful in so many ways. Your history and culture are as unique and captivating as your people who now share you with the rest of the world. I love you and I will be back.